Summative assessments determine what is known at the end of instruction. An example of this type of assessment would be a project at the end of the unit. Formative assessments determine what is being learned during instruction. An example of this type of assessment would be an exit slip. Diagnostic assessments determine what is known or not known before instruction. An example of this type of assessment would be a pre-assessment. Standard deviation is a measure that specifies how much a group of scores vary from the mean/average of all scores. It gives teachers and educators an idea of how effective the assessment is. If there is a high standard deviation, it means that the data is really spread out/wide range, while a low standard deviation shows the data clustered near the mean. For example, if there's a small standard deviation and the scores are clustered at the high end of the scoring range, could mean two things. It could mean that the students all showed that they knew the content on the test, or the test could have been very easy. Another example is if there is a small standard deviation and the scores are clustered at the low end of the scoring range, which could also mean two things. It could mean that most of the students bombed the test, or the test was too hard. The difference between validity and reliability is validity is the measure of how good an assessment measures the construct it's supposed to measure. Reliability is how steadily the assessment measures what it's supposed to measure. Out of the two, validity is the more important one because the score on the assessment represents what's meant to be interpreted by that score.